Back at the bench once again. This time a older version of the Romans MK1. This one was in the customer's possession for a while, and they finally decided they wanted to get an install done on it. So I've gone through and made basically a custom chassis for it. They also asked for one of the recessed blades, which we'll go through. I'll do a teardown to show how to kind of take it apart, those kinds of things. The majority of the teardown, more than likely, you'll never really need to do, as the board is accessible, the battery is accessible. So it's the kill switch very, very quickly and easily. I'll show the blade insertion after we turn it on, and then that way I can put the blade out of the way off the bench. So very easy to turn it on, and I can do it with, with a fingernail. You can also unscrew the sync knob pommel, but this piece in the cap comes out very, very easily. And there's our kill switch and a little peek of the copper silk PLA chassis.
My clone troops turned on me. I need help.
Close that there. We do have a stock connector here, which will light the blade plug. I have an insert ready to print to put inside of the blade plug to cover up the hole so you don't see the pins and the pixels when it's on display. It should look really, really neat. Just haven't run that one piece off. It'll take maybe about 5 or 10 minutes to get that completed. We'll lay it aside for now. The hilt overall, though, very, very nice. The recessed blade, I have 2 set screws in order to make any kind of blade maintenance later easy. You loosen the 2 of these out, and the PCB, the holder, and the KR pixel strip will all then slide out through. The tip of the blade is glued on, and it should not have a problem staying in. It helps with the retention of the PCB. There is the diffuser tube inside. As long as that PCB goes up tight against the diffuser tube, you've got the right length for this hilt. Insertion, very, very easy. I just kind of put it there. You'll feel it come up against the pixel cup, and then it's just a little wiggle. It's snug. I won't tighten down the screw right here. And that is the pixel blade. I can't do an overall blade demo with the shorter stubby blades that I usually have, just because I don't have a recessed one for this hilt. But we'll lay that blade aside, and we'll go more into the hilt itself. We do have dual tactile buttons under the bubble strip, one on each end. You can see the bubbles actually magnify 2 of the wires that pass over the clamp card. Makes it kind of a neat little look. Thread lock on the emitter cup, and then this piece is not thread locked, so you can remove the thin neck if needed, or you can thread lock it as decided. So if you decide to go trooping, I would definitely recommend probably putting the thread lock on the grenade section. As shown, the kill switch is back here. The rest of the access.
Select preset. I am a Jedi. Obi-Wan.
It's me squeezing buttons. The rest of the access goes through here. 18650 stock on this end. This is a Proffie 1 that was provided by the owner for the install. They've had it earmarked for the install for a long time. And that is basically user access here for standard usage. Obviously, this little access right here will allow you to push the battery out a bit easier, and also gives great access to the SD card and the USB port on the board. Outside of that, tear down beyond this, it's really going to be for any kind of maintenance or other changes or things that you may want to do. So the easy way to go further access, we'll start with the clamp. Lift that up. We'll slide the bubble strip out. We'll leave this unlocked. We unthread both transistors. If I can get my fingers on this one. And as I'm doing this, I will say the chassis itself overall is locked to the cage that fits under the clamp. So once those are removed, the clamp is free to shift around. But before you shift it around, you want to lift up the clamp card and just let it hang off the back. Slide this up. And then there's a connector right here that you can use to disconnect the clamp card. It only goes in one way, so you should not have a problem reversing it. You'll see there the 28mm Smuggler's Outpost dark speaker. Underneath, these are two little shims that hold the chassis to the cage itself. So there's no glue being used to hold the chassis into the cage. You can pull these and then the whole chassis will slide out from the kill switch all up. It's in one piece. And then for the transistors to screw into, I made a custom piece on the printer to fit in here. This is threaded to take the transistors, as you saw, and that helps the clamp from actually rotating around, which, because of the way the cage is designed, would probably snip those wires on the actual clamp card itself. So it's a protection mechanism. It also helps with threading on and off the grenade because then this clamp doesn't slide around. It's just overall provides a snugger fit for all the components that go on the outside of the clamp. And then this is the last part, not overly exciting, but it's got some neat design on it, so I figure I'll show it off. And that's the kill switch that sticks out the end. The reason for this is this hilt model was provided with one of Roman's static version boosters, not the FX. So instead of fitting the board and a kill switch potentially down here, it got moved up, and then the kill switch was kept down in the little chamber. We'll do a quick reassemble, pretty much in identical reverse order. And so when putting this back together, as you slide that down, just kind of let the wires come up through. Let it dangle for a moment. And you'll line up the rectangular hole with the actual hole in the printed body. And I'm apparently not putting that in straight. This is what I get for trying to look at the camera while doing it. So I'm only going to put in the one transistor for the moment. This, again, leave this open because when the clamp closes, it actually snugs this down. I'm just going to hold that down with my thumb. Tip it a little forward. Then tip it a little backwards. And you kind of want to wiggle the underside to make sure it's about even against the bubble strip itself. Then you go ahead and lock it down.
It's just bad these days.
And you get easy access. The grenade section, even with the clamp closed, screws on nicely.
Ben Kenobi?
So the first font was an episode 3 The second font was the Obi-Wan Show. And this one is, if I remember right, it's the Cantina version from the Chirophonic Obi-4.
Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time.
So there's a lot of quotes added to every one of the fonts. More obviously can be thrown into the SD card.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
This one is the Death Star version from Chirophonic's Obi-4.
Your destiny lies along a different path from mine. The Force will be with you. Always.
And then the last one, because this hilt was also wanted by the owner to reflect the shared stunt version, we have...
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Luke's Return of the Jedi. With a green.
I feel the conflict within you. Let go of your hate.
And that is all of the fonts.
Obi-Wan.
We go back to the episode 3. And that overall is, obviously minus the one transistor, the Romans MK1. Thanks for watching.